Greetings all! Today we will be examining the uncommon bug-type Pokemon Shelmet, the Snail Pokémon, and its exceptionally rare evolution Accelgor, the Shell Out Pokémon. Defensive on one hand and speedy on the other, the members of the Shelmet family are interesting gastropods that can pull more than a few surprises on those that are unfamiliar with their ways.
Shelmet have fairly small green and pink bodies that are seldom seen in their entirety, the only thing that is normally visible being their black eyes and pink snout. The rest of their form is hidden in a two-piece grey shell with a hinge that allows the top half to be closed over the bottom half, the back of the shell having a bulbous form with a clear swirling growth line visible. The evolved form Accelgor have their entire bodies exposed, showing off their pink skin and a twin pair of green stripes on their head, which curls in the back and is adorned with a large black cross and black eye rings that greatly accentuate their appearance. The rest of their body, hands included, is wrapped in a thin grey membrane that helps to keep their bodies moist and protected, with a twin trail of the material hovering over the back of their shoulders.
The members of the Shelmet and Karrablast families represent an exceptionally unique ecological case in that the relationship they share with each other is primarily co-evolutionary, and it is almost impossible to properly talk about the two families without examining why.
Karrablast are more than aware that the exoskeletons are not very strong, and thus they seek out different ways of protecting themselves from harm. From trial and error, it seems that the species as a whole has learned that the best way to acquire defense is to steal it from someone else, and that someone else has come to be Shelmet. While Shelmet are generally regarded to be inseparable from their shells by any normal means, acidic liquid that Karrablast spew to numb the skin of larger organisms in preparation for feeding happens to work surprisingly well in detaching the soft-bodied creatures from their hard shells if applied when the shell is open. However, when the acid comes into contact with the vulnerable shell or flesh of Shelmet, it begins a massive electrolytic reaction that produces a unique electrical field only seen otherwise within trading devices, triggering a simultaneous reaction within the two creatures at the genetic level if the Karrablast doesn't eat the Shelmet first. While the liberated Shelmet grow into a larger, seemingly adult form, Karrablast simultaneously become cemented within the old Shelmet shell due to the acidic liquid that Shelmet secrete, and become able to produce the shell's non-living components at will. In both cases, the mutation is so radical that it is effectively considered to be evolution for both species, turning Shelmet into Accelgor and Karrablast into a Scavalier. This helps the Shelmet family immensely, and these changes come with some noteworthy alterations to their power. On their own, Shelmet rely on their shell for the source of their abilities, as they can have shell armor as a base ability and overcoat as a hidden ability, and their receptiveness to water and moisture can further allow them to have hydration as another base ability. In the case of Accelgor though, while they can retain hydration, the slippery membrane that covers their form can also make their form sticky, and likewise grant them access to the sticky hold ability as a base ability, while those that are able to free themselves more and move around better with nothing on their person can also have Unburden as a hidden ability. And speaking of which, in looking at their stats, Accelgor don't have a lot to offer in the way of true defense for the most part, or physical strength, but they do have a surprising amount of stamina to work with, and can not only hit hard with special attacks, but also move at incredibly blinding speeds to get around. As such, the base HP, special attack, and speed stats are above average for a fully evolved bug-type Pokemon, and with speed that is rivaled or exceeded by scant few, they can more than put this to good use when striking from afar where they cannot easily be reached.
Shelmet live lives as simple gastropods that devour low-growing shrubs and hard seeds for sustenance, rarely ever going more than several dozen meters away from their nesting grounds in doing so.
The bodies of Shelmet are exceptionally fragile and easily destroyed, so these creatures cannot afford to take a fully offensive stance in battle. Instead, Shelmet rely on their armored shells, which are made from secreted layers of calcium carbonate and various metals for extra durability, as their primary means of defense and offense. When attacked, Shelmet will completely close their shells and refuse to open them back up again until they are completely certain that they are safe from danger. While in this defensive stance, anything short of a serious impact will not destroy the shell, and they are virtually impossible to open back up. Anyone foolish enough to try to do so will usually receive a potent spray of acid in the face. Unlike Karrablast, the acidic liquid that Shelmet spray serves a dual purpose. Besides being concentrated enough to actually cause pain, the acid acts as a sealant when it hardens, allowing Shelmet to effectively keep themselves cemented within their shells at all times. This has made them a rather unpopular choice among chefs, as the effort needed to actually extract them from the shell is simply not worth the end result. That and Shelmet flesh is actually quite toxic if it isn't prepared correctly. In short, Shelmet are designed for survival and little more. Aside from a few energy-stealing attacks and some other moves characteristic of their body type, such as Body Slam, Bug Buzz, and Struggle Bug, they mainly get only defensive moves that can help them survive battles, even if it might not be enough to actually win them. Because they no longer have their shells to protect them, Accelgor are completely open to the effects of their surrounding environment and are thus in life-threatening danger at all times. The base special defense stat suffering a very slight decrease, and the base defense stat suffering a critical decrease. Aside from being physically weak, Accelgor are vulnerable to the heat and dryness of the surrounding atmosphere, and are prone to drying out and dying when placed in unfavorable conditions. As a way of rectifying this, however, Accelgor have come to rely on many layers of damp, skin-like membrane to keep their soft bodies moist and comfortable at all times. This overall transformation actually makes Accelgor far more efficient in battle because their bodies are no longer sealed within a tight space, in turn granting them absolute mobility. Although their bodies are technically heavier than those of Shelmet, the overall body density is actually much lower, allowing them to move much faster than Shelmet. So fast, in fact, that only a scant few species are able to exceed their movement capabilities.
Unlike some of these fighters, however, Accelgor are quite strong offensively and have a high enough base special attack stat to make efficient use of their best attacks, making them a potent threat against Pokemon that pure bug types might otherwise fear. What makes Accelgor particularly interesting, however, is the unique style in which they battle.
Since they have the advantage of speed, Accelgor will hide themselves behind whatever objects may be present in an environment and attack from the shadows, much like ninjas do, only coming in close if the hiding place is destroyed. Even if there are no places to hide, Accelgor usually do not have to worry too much about getting hit, as they move too fast for most opponents to see or even hear. While they can go on the offensive fully if placed against a defensive fighter, Accelgor will usually bide their time and rely on the double team technique to evade what little damage the opposition can do, while using other moves for support to lessen the chances of them ever taking critical damage, taking pot shots at their opponent with attacks like Water Shuriken. Accelgor rarely ever deviate from these basic patterns, but they are intelligent enough to understand when an opponent has their tactics pegged and will immediately switch tactics in response, oftentimes so suddenly that it catches their opponents completely off guard. Unfortunately for traditional ninjas, Accelgor do not have the physical strength needed to be properly taught most forms of martial arts, but for those looking for something new and equally dangerous, you really can't go wrong with these shellless snails.
Though they might seem benign in a juvenile state, the members of the Shelmet family have great potential and can certainly make themselves useful in time with deceptive speed and surprising special offense. They might be among the most fragile of fully evolved Pokemon, but these critters can still make reliable partners and can easily dash circles around others while using their agility to cunningly take down those that would dare to challenge them.
Just do yourself a favor and don't try and give these beasts the slip if confronted. Otherwise, you might find yourself getting taken out from behind when these masterful snails mow you down with a well-placed Water Shuriken to the back. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always an honor to be able to speak with you all on the subject of Pokemon in a way that brings me great joy and happiness in my work. If you would like to keep tabs on past and future work, click that subscribe button, check out my work on DeviantArt, and don't be shy about following me on Twitter, where you can find pertinent announcements on upcoming work before it is officially posted. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you would like to support my work and help Miguel and I continue to produce more content for you and improve upon our presentation, please visit us at my Patreon page, which you can also find a link to in the video description.
Yeah, no.
With that, I thank you for watching and I wish you well.